हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे मुकुम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं हरे तत्सत् Wonderful. Chapter 8, we are starting offenses to be avoided. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I got my glasses. I was listening to my spiritual master's class, and there was one person who was asking a question. We see few devotees have left this process. What could be the reason for that? Is that because of lack of faith, or is that because they wanted to feel to enjoy their senses? They wanted to enjoy sense gratification. And the spiritual master said, you can't generalize why people would leave or why would not people continue Krishna consciousness. Some people may definitely be thinking about, you know what, I want to enjoy senses because Maya or material energy is so strong. The second, people lack of faith. Well, the challenge with lack of faith is that when people actually starts offending each other, when people start criticizing each other, which we see in the material world also, then people lose their faith. And especially for the people who are actually criticizing. Very beautiful point you were sharing. For a person to continue to have a faith, faith is not something which we can generate ourselves or which we can build ourselves. Faith, Krishna has to grant. And how does Krishna grant faith? Ye yatha mam prapadyante. We read it in Bhagavad Gita. Based on our surrender, based on how we approach, we get same reciprocation. So if one is very sincere, Krishna feels that that person is sincere, then he wants to grant that devotee faith, an unshakable faith. But when the devotee is not sincere, then Krishna does not give him the faith, give that person the faith. And that's why these people leave. And then the most important reason why people lose sincerity, because they start criticizing people. They start identifying faults in others and they want to grow or they want to use that opportunity to put other person down. So offenses to be avoided is a very, very important term for continuing in bhakti. That's why this chapter is very important. Says in the supplementary Vedic literature, there is a following list of 32 offenses in the matter of serving the Lord. What are these 32 offenses? One should not enter the temple of deity in a car or a palanquin or with shoes on the feet. We know when we go to any temple from our childhood, we know that shoes have to be removed, but we do not know the reason behind it because that is one of the offense. And this is what is mentioned. And one should not enter in a in a higher position because you know what, Duryodhana never took an umbrella. Like when it rains, we carry the umbrella, right? So most of the time when he has to go in the rain, he would get wet because he didn't want to carry on the umbrella. You know why? Because he didn't want anyone over him. That was his level of ego. Similar way, when we carry in this material world, this material consciousness with such a big ego, when we go in front of God, when we go in front of the temple, when we go in the temple in front of Krishna, what is the first thing we do? We ring the bell to to actually get attention of Krishna. And then the second thing which we do is we bow down. We offer our pranam, bowing down. Because in the world we live in, we don't want to bow down. Ev- we want other people to bow down to us, but we don't want to bow down. The ego is so strong. So when we come in the temple, we accept our lower position. That's why we do not enter with palanquin or shoes on the feet. One should not fail to observe the various festivals for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Goddess, such as Janmashtami and Rath Yatra. Today, most of the festivals are only namesake only. People want to use that opportunity of festival to do all kind of sense gratification, which is against completely on the name of religion or on the name of principles of those festivals. The ultimate purpose of celebrating those festivals is to give pleasure to Krishna. One should not avoid bowing down before the deity. I covered that. One should not enter the temple to worship the Lord without having washed one's hands and feet after eating. Very important. When we honor prasad, we should, anyhow, it's a general hygiene principle that after eating, we clean our mouth. Similar way, when we enter the temple, we have to keep cleanliness. Unfortunately, Western countries, it's difficult have a tap, but you see in every Indian temple, before you enter, you remove your shoes, you wash your feet, you wash your hands, you do gargle, and then you enter the temple because it's a very pure place and we don't want to go with the contaminated situation. One should not enter the temple in a contaminated state. According to Vedic scriptures, if someone dies in the family, the whole family becomes contaminated for some time, according to its status. For example, if the family is Brahmana, their contamination period is 12 days. Kshatriya and Vaishya, it is 15 days, and for Shudra, 30 days. One should not bow down on one hand. It should be complete bowing down. One should not circulate in front of Sri Krishna. The process of circulating the temple is that one should begin circulating from the deity's right side of the temple and come round in a clockwise fashion. Such circumambulation should be performed outside the temple structure at least 3 times daily. And it's again very difficult in Western countries, but you see Indian temples, there is always a space around. Like I remember Radha Govind Dev Ji Mandir, I went to Jaipur, very beautiful temple. So they have a very beautiful corridor to actually do parikrama. And then a lot of temples you see they have windows or they have some this thing or deities this so that you can actually touch the head and get their blessings. One should not sit before the deities holding the ankles, elbows, or knees with one's hand. Very important most of the time, even I did not know it. So when we sit down, we shouldn't be putting our hands on ankles or elbows or knees. One should not lie down before the deity of Krishna. One should not sleep in the temple. One should not accept prasad before the deity. When the prasad is given in the temple, you get out from the temple all and honor prasad. Most of the people have no idea about this feature. One should never speak a lie before the deity, and that is why you see that beautiful story of Sakshi Gopal. I don't know if I told, but it's worth discussing about that pastime where there was actually an elderly Brahmana. He wanted to visit various holy places. And there was a young Brahmana who agreed, who actually wanted to help him to carry or suggest, support him in various places, visiting holy places. And then when they visited all the places, the elderly Brahmana was very happy with the young Brahmana because he helped him so much. So at the end of the whole visit, he actually offered him, saying that I will get my daughter married to you. So young Brahmana was thinking, Are you are very aristocratic Brahmana. I am just a low class Brahmana. Why would you get your daughter married to him? Married to me? He said, No, I promise. So he said, Let's do the promise in front of the deities. So there was Gopal deity in Vrindavan, and then he took a vow saying that I'll get my daughter married to this young Brahmana. And then he told, Now I'm going home, and then you come after certain period of time. So elder Brahmana went home and he was sharing his whole experience, and then he told his family saying that I promise my daughter's hand to this young Brahmana. So the wife And son got angry. Without having a background of a boy, how can you commit that the daughter should be married to him? But he said, I took a vow. He said, forget it. You say I don't remember because I'm old. So after a few days, when this young Brahmana came and knocked the door, and the brother opened the door, and this young Brahmana introduced himself, that I'm so and so person, and I was told by your father, this is the thing. So he became angry. He said, you tried to ditch my father and you are trying to steal that. He said, no, your father told. He himself told. And when he said, okay, you bring your father, you asked. He didn't say anything. So then this young Brahmana went to the panchayat, the village board, and he told them, saying that this is what has happened. So they were brought in this elderly Brahmana son said, what is the proof you have that my father said like that? And he started thinking and he remembered that Gopal was there, and everybody started laughing. He said, okay, so if Gopal was there, bring him here as a witness, as a sakshi. So this young Brahmana went there, and all these people were laughing. Deity will not speak because they think deities is a stone. So this young Brahmana went to Vrindavan and then went to Gopal, and then he told him, saying that this is what is happening, my dear Lord. You come. The Lord said, I don't move. The young Brahmana said, if you can talk, you can walk also. The Gopal said, agreed. And Gopal started walking. He put a condition in front of this young Brahmana, that I will walk behind you and you will hear my ankle bell's voice. And you will, based on that, you will understand I am coming behind you. But you should never look back. If you look back, then I will stop wherever I am there. So he started walking from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri. It's a long, long journey. He walked for 100 days actually, and he was able to hear the voice of ankle bell of Gopal. But when he was about to reach to Jagannath Puri, he stopped hearing the ankle voice, anklet voice. So he started thinking, maybe is that Gopal coming? And he looked behind, and Gopal said, I already told you not to look behind. Now I will stay here. He said, what do I do now? He said, go and call those villagers. And this young Brahmana went and called all the villagers, village head, all that. Sorry. And then Gopal told, being a witness, saying that yes, this elderly Brahmana promised. And then elderly Brahmana had to get his daughter married to this young Brahmana. So this is very important. We don't lie in front of deities. One should not talk very loudly before the deity. One should maintain that serene atmosphere. One should not talk with others before the deity which is unrelated to Krishna. One should not cry or howl before the deity. One should not quarrel or fight before the deity. One should not chastise anyone before the deity. One should not be charitable to beggars before the deity to showcase, oh, you know what, this is what I can do. One should not speak very harshly to others before the deities. One should not wear a fur blanket before the deity. One should not eulogize or praise anyone else before the deity, because deities take the priority. They are supreme there. One should not speak any ill names before the deity. One should not pass air before the deity. One should not fail to worship the deity according to one's means. In that is stated that the Lord is satisfied if devotee offers him even a leaf or little water. But if we are able to offer more, we should do that. This formula prescribed by Lord is universally applicable even for the poorest man. But that does not mean that one has sufficient means to worship the Lord very nicely should also adopt this method and try to satisfy the Lord simply by offering water and the leaf. Do you remember that story of a king? Or do you remember that story of a merchant who was a vegetable seller? Anybody remember that story I shared before?
Yes, Prabhu.
Can you share whatever you remember, Mataji, and then I'll add if something else has to be added.
Yeah, because one time that vegetable seller, when he was a vegetable seller, so he used to give like sufficient amount to the god, and then That's how next life he got promoted from
Mm,
vegetable seller to a king.
mm,
Then somehow the king was king's memory or subconscious memory, he remembers his
yes.
past life that he used to offer vegetables, and
Mm,
then he used to still do vegetables although he could have do more as a king, but then or a rich person, he still offer vegetables. But
mm.
then next life he become again more um, like I think it was vegetable seller or even
Yeah,
lesser than
yeah.
that, because he could not, he should not, he could have done more when his appetite got bigger, so he
Yes,
did not.
thank you.
Yeah,
Very,
that.
very good. Thank you. You have a good memory, Mataji. Yes, he was doing a charity. He would take one vegetable. He will donate every day. But when he became a king, he thought, oh, if this vegetable is the thing, then I that brought me to king. Now I become even more richer just by offering that vegetable. And that's a cheap mentality people have. When they come to the temple, so in the wallet, the back side are the bigger notes, and then the front side are the lower notes. That's how it is arranged. At least for men, that's how it is arranged. The tendency is that when I go in the temple, I will touch the first part, not the back side of the part. So whatever is the lowest denominator, I'll take that and put it in the hundi or offer it in the temple. And that is what Krishna sees. Krishna doesn't see what you give. Krishna sees what you hold back. And that is how our bhakti is tested. Not that Krishna is looking for money, he is Lakshmi, but he is seeing not that what am I giving, but what am I holding back. And that is an important principle. So, though Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, but based on one's capacity, one should offer. If he has sufficient money, he should offer nice decoration, nice flowers, and nice food stuff, and observe all ceremonies. It is not that one should try to satisfy the Supreme Lord with little water and leave, and for himself spend all the money in sense gratification. Like this prayer is that तेरा तुझको अर्पण क्या लागे मेरा. Our intention is actually, though on the face, on the move, on the with the mouth we say this, what our intention is, मेरा मुझको अर्पण क्या लागे तेरा, ओम जय जगदीश हरे. The intention is, I this is mine. I don't want to give you, Krishna, because this doesn't belong to you. That's the miserly thought process actually. So one should not eat anything that is not offered first to Krishna. Everyone should only eat prasadam. One should not fail to offer fresh fruits and grains to Krishna according to the season. When I grew up, every time when you go to the temple, either you buy flowers, either you buy grains or fruits, or if you can't bring in, you put the Lakshmi in hundi. You should never go empty handed to the temple. And that is why you see the children, they learn based on what their parents do. I remember our temple president would talk so much about this. When my wife, she was not working, but her health wasn't supporting. But then after the transplant, she had a desire. So she just started working at the juice shop, just to spend some time and just wanted to be with the other people. What she did is, whatever she earned, the first salary, she came and gave it to temple president. Said, Prabhu, please use it in Krishna's service. And he had tears in his eyes because he knew all background what had happened. He said, Amma, you must have paid so much money for health insurance and all that stuff. You keep that money. She said, no, this is my first salary. And the kids saw that. One time, when Mukunda was given some gift by some person, he said, Papa, I want to give it in the temple. So parents teach through the example to their children, and that's how kids teach. In today's world, people are so miser, they want to give only $1 to Krishna, and rest all they want to spend on science gratification. Kids also see that. And when the same parents become old, then the same kids do not give money to their kids or parents, sorry. Unfortunate situation. After food has been cooked, no one should be offered any foodstuff unless it is first offered to the deity. First thing which has to be done is to offer bhoga to Krishna. One should not sit with his back towards the deity. One should not offer obeisances silently to the spiritual master. One should offer a full pranam. Or, in other words, one should recite a loud prayers to spiritual master while offering obeisances. One should not fail to offer praise in presence of spiritual master. One should not praise himself before the spiritual master. And one should not deride the demigods before the deity. They should offer respect. These are the list of 32 offenses. Any comments or question?
Prabhu, I um, remember I shared before that I'm a Bengali. As a Bengali, but that's how we brought up, and no one, if no one teaches, if the other person doesn't teach kids
Hmm.
the way they grew up, is it's the same kind of stuff that we carry forward. So
Hmm.
as of me, myself, I did not know. I just self, like whatever you thought is self taught and self everything. So I used to eat meat and everything, and then my kitchen is the all the utensils and everything. Uh,
Hmm.
once upon a time, we I used to do
Good.
that, right?
Yeah.
Now the same utensils, I cannot cook any stuff for Krishna. Let's say, can I? That's what I heard from someone. So I'm still in a dilemma.
Very, very good question. Um, Ideally, yes. If financial situation allows you to do that, you should start replacing those with the ones, fresh ones, like Thanksgiving Day is coming now. So if you can do that, that is an ideal way. Um, may not buy all the utensils, but at least start maybe buying a couple and then cook in them and slowly, slowly bring that in. But that's the right way to do it, Mataji.
Okay, I get it now. So that's why I don't have enough to offer it like that way. So I'm just holding it off. Now another thing, tulsi,
Hmm.
jo in Canada is so hard to maintain tulsi plant.
Hmm.
I just don't know how to maintain a tulsi plant at home. I've tried so many times. It's
Hmm.
every time dying. Every time I try
Yeah.
to take care of in different ways, it
Yeah.
doesn't. So until unless you offer one tulsi patta to the bhoga,
Hmm.
the it's not accepted by Krishna, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. Now you brought up very. Thank you for bringing these things. I will share how to take care of Tulsi Marani, especially during winter. There are plant lights. So even in Western countries like cold state like North America,
Hmm.
people actually grow their vegetation in greenhouse. They by maintaining the temperature. So what you can do is you can buy the plant light, and it's not a regular light. It has to be sufficiently
I
heated.
have one bulb, Guruji,
Mm,
but that one is I don't know how to put it up.
yeah,
Is it should be in
it's
a
a
east
bigger.
facing?
Not necessary, Mataji. It should be sufficiently warm Tulsi Marani. That is one principle. Second principle is you don't water Tulsi Marani every day.
Yeah, whenever it needed.
Yeah,
All the
maybe
dry soils
once
and
a week,
everything. I know all that, but it does not. I cannot keep it live. I
because
feel
Tulsi
so hard every
Marani.
time.
Hmm, I will share you a class, Mataji. I was actually very interestingly, I was hearing about glories of Tulsi Marani this morning. I will share that class with you. You listen, and one of the important point which is mentioned is Tulsi is the greatest devotee of Krishna. She is an expansion of Sri Radha. And only thing which Tulsi needs is bhakti. So now you are practicing. It should go on as long as these things are taken care of. And then you offer obeisances to Tulsi Marani every day. And
Okay.
that way Tulsi Marani will grow from that perspective, Mataji. But and then third point which I wanted to cover. So what I do is when Tulsi manjaris grow, I keep them for winter season. So I
So you can
wash
make a
that.
new plant from there.
No, not plant. You can offer that to Krishna every day. Not necessary you have to plug the
Okay.
so you can keep for entire winter season manjaris, and then you offer little from that manjaris every day whenever you offer the bhoga to Krishna.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because in summer they Tulsi Marani gives lot of manjari
Yeah,
flowers, and we don't need that much, so we pluck them and keep them for winter season.
I see, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, you mean the seeds, Prabhuji? Seeds, right? The dry one. Yeah.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
Manjaris they are called as, yeah. So you unplug them, you plug them, and then you keep them for winter season, and whenever you offer to Krishna you can use that.
Prabhu, in my back home, I have tulsi bun in my
Yeah.
back home. It's so
uh,
much, and now I can't have anything in here. And
yeah,
on the, and in Canada is the in the winter time, and it's just the ventilation is so bad. It's nothing I can keep it life.
I'll send you a picture. By mercy of Srimati Tulsi Marani, I have a lot of Tulsi Marani at home. And then you follow that principle, Tulsi Marani will be taken care nicely.
Thank you, Prabhu. That would be great.
Thank you, Maharaji. Any other comments, Naresh Prabhu? Hmm.
Prabhuji, send it in the group, Prabhuji, so that I also follow. I
Yeah,
have four plants I'm trying to protect. I think still now, I mean,
very different.
the leaves are just falling off, but it's
Leaves
good.
will still
Yeah,
fall off, but you have to see Tulsi is properly being maintained. You see,
yeah,
I'll share the picture and then I'll also share lights which
yeah,
you can
Prabhuji.
put in. Wonderful. Thank you for asking that. Let's move forward. We will read a little more and then we will wind up. Beside these, there are a number of offenses which are mentioned in Varaha Puran. They are as follows. One should not touch the deity in a dark room. One should not fail to strictly follow the rules and regulation in worshipping the deity. One should not enter the temple of deity without first making some sound, which I said, ringing the bell. One should not offer any foodstuff to deity which has been seen by dogs or other low animals. That's why in the temple, when boga is cooked, we cover that before offering to Krishna, and that's why the dogs are not allowed in the house. But somehow Western civilization is so bad. People keep dog, which is now. But if you are happy to take care of that in that way, one should not break silence while worshipping. One should not pass urine or evacuate while engaged in worshipping. One should not offer incense without offering some flower. Krishna, I'm reading it first time. I need to follow that. Useless flowers without any fragrance should not be offered. Now this is important because in Western country we don't have flowers with the fragrance that used to be in India. So you offer some kind of incense or some kind of scented oil or all that stuff. You get various this, so you apply that and offer to Krishna. One should not fail to wash his teeth very carefully every day. One should not enter the temple directly after sexual intercourse. One should not enter the temple after touching a woman during her menstrual period. One should not enter the temple after touching a dead body. One should not enter the temple wearing garments of red or blue color or garments which are unwashed. Um, One should not enter the temple after seeing a dead body. One should not pass air within the temple. One should not be angry within the temple. One should not enter the temple after visiting a crematorium. One should not belch before the deity. So, until one has fully digested his food, he should not enter the temple. One should not smoke marijuana or ganja. One should not take opium or similar intoxicants. One should not enter the deity room or touch the body of the deity after having smeared oil over his body. One should not show disrespect to a scripture teaching about the supremacy of the Lord. One should not introduce any opposing scripture. One should not chew betel before the deity. One should not offer a flower that was kept in an unclean pot. One should not worship the Lord while sitting on the bare floor. One should have a sitting place or carpet. One should not touch the deity before one has completed taking bath. One should not decorate his forehead with three-line tilak. One should not enter the temple without washing his hands and feet. So some of them were still common point, but some of them were pretty new. We got to this is these are you can say bad habits in visiting the temple, and one should avoid as much as possible.
Prabhuji, just a question, Prabhuji.
Yes.
These are the reasons, Prabhuji, why we don't keep the deity at home. I mean, most of the if, from the lot of people, like they keep the photo framed, not
Mm,
like deity at home.
mm.
You should be clean. Maybe this is because of all these principles. Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, these are cleanliness principles. Most of them, I'll be very honest. For an example, um, after after doing number two, one should take a bath. That's a Brahmanical principle. Unfortunately, we lack those principles. Like if you see earlier times, toilets were not in the home. Why toilets were not in the home? This attached toilet and bathroom came with the modern civilization. Earlier times there were no toilets. Why is that? Or it used to be outside the house, not connected. Anybody who came from village background or anybody came from that side, they, even if they were not outside, they were actually not connected to the house. They were like the garage. Some of the house, some of the time you see disconnected garage. That is how it would be. People would pass nature call and then they come and take a bath. Even today I know in village this is being followed, but we are so spoiled, actually we don't follow that. So these principles, irrelevant do deity worship or not, to be followed to a larger extent. And now when you think God as a picture, then you treat God as a picture. That's an unfortunate situation. Anything which is considered to be, oh, this, it's an alternative. We just actually have a habit of just not following to a standard. So when you have deities at home, it's like a temple at home, and they are the main center and they run your whole show. And I want to share this story and I want to end this class with this one. If there are other questions, we can cover that. There is a great devotee, his name is Ahindra Prabhu. He was born in America as an American, and one time he came in contact with devotees, and he was so mesmerized by this process. He joined temple and he started following these principles. One time he had a friend, devotee friend, and he told him Srila Prabhupada came to my dream. And he said, I established 24 hours Kirtan in New Vrindavan. I established 24 hours in Vrindavan, 24 hours Kirtan in Vrindavan, but nobody is following that. And Ahindra Prabhu took that thinking that Srila Prabhupada is speaking to me that way. And he moved to Vrindavan from America. And he would live next to Vrindavan, in like very close to Vrindavan temple, almost in temple itself, Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. He had a small room there. Outside his room, it was written, like on the door, right? On the door, it was written, if you chanted 16 rounds, then chant 32. If you chanted 32 rounds, you chant 64 rounds. If you chanted 64 rounds, you chant 128 rounds. If you're done with 128 rounds, let me finish my 128 rounds. He would chant 128 rounds every day. And he had hundreds of Govardhan Shila, and he had Nitai Gauranga's deities. And this is you will have really the hairs coming on stand when you hear this. Just when he was there, and he would do 24-hour kirtan, and there were only one or two devotees, so they would practically do all 24-hour without sleeping, doing kirtan. And then slowly number grew 30, and then people started taking turns. And that's how he was the pioneer of 24-hour kirtan in Vrindavan, which is going there for 29 years now. Cons- all day, every day 24-hour kirtan. Overnight kirtan is definitely there. So let's talk about the main point now. So one week, one day he had a dream. In the dream, Srimati Radharani is being asked by Krishna, who is that devotee? Srimati Radharani says, you don't know her? Indra Gopi. Krishna says, I heard about her. I heard her kirtan. Srimati Radharani says, he'll be here in because in Golok Vrindavan only Krishna is the male, everyone else is a female. And Gopas are of course Krishna Sakha, but at least in that pastime. So this was a dream he had one week before. After one week, one day he finished his worship and he was taking care of his deities. There was a cylinder leakage in his room, and his room would be locked very thoroughly because he would chant and he didn't want anybody to bother him. And he ignited the lighter lamp for worshipping the deities. And we know what happens when there is a gas leakage and you ignite the fire. The cylinder burst and nobody knew what had happened. But next day morning, devotees are thinking Indra never misses a service. They started searching. They opened the door, the fumes coming out. They saw Indra Baba's dead body, and his deities were wooden deities. And all these points are very important. Indra Baba was holding the feet of his deities Nitai Gauranga or Nitai Sachisuta. Yes, he was cooking for Radha Sham Sundar in one pot. That pot was not found, and his deities were exactly like they were before. Even though they are wooden deities, everything else in his room is burned to ashes. Shilas are not touched, his deities are not touched. So, bringing the deities at home, they promise you eternal abode in their home. And I'm sure all these 32 things or 64 things which we read will not even we will not even count a ding if we can get an entrance to spiritual world. That's why deities are very important. Sorry for a long answer, but hope that
No,
makes sense.
no, Prabhuji. The reason why I ask, I have deities next to me. I'm sitting in the chair. I don't know now. I need to change the place, or I need to change my place. I work here in the chair. I have deities next to me, Prabhuji. So I don't know.
It is okay, because if you don't have a place, a lot of people in India they live in one bedroom house. It's
Yeah,
okay to do that. If you have a place, that will be ideal.
sure, Prabhuji. And just I use this room one work and
Yeah, it's okay.
it is Prabhuji.
We have limitations. We know where what are the highest standards, Prabhu. That's why I just said this nectar of devotion is a crescendo. We are not reading an ordinary scripture. We are talking about the Paramhamsa Samhita, which is a very highly elevated platform to read. So we know what bar we are setting up right now. What is our bar to reach there? Until we know these principles, we will never actually practice that, right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Like, for an example, in the temple, like for an example, getting old, there is tendency I can't sit with this thing, and then there is a tendency, oh, can I just put my feet like that? I can't. And I remember. So there has to be some things to be followed properly. A lot of things, I'll be very honest, I was just shocked. Like for an example, when I go for DT worship, I have a pujari who actually is a very close friend of mine, and he doesn't mind telling me. He said, Prabhu, why didn't you apply deodorant? under your arms, because during summer season it becomes you sweat and then your body smells. You don't want to go with that in front of the lordship. You're not applying perfume or this for your own sense gratification or to show off or to attract anyone, but you don't want to bring deities in front of that way. Same way he would say, make sure you brush before coming. Even if you did brush in the morning, before you come for the deities, you should brush. Again, these are pujari principles I'm talking, but
Yes,
one
yes.
day we will also be there. Nobody knew that they will be there, right? But one day it comes. So it's nice to follow these principles as much as possible.
Thank you,
Prabhu,
Prabhuji.
when you said, like for women, when they have this 5 or 7 days,
Yes.
they cannot go to puja ghar and all. And that time, if I tell my husband to do puja, whatever the way that he does puja, is that okay?
Yes, that will be wonderful. And that way, the Lord, He gets unlimited mercy. We have no idea how deities are so wonderful to reciprocate. We
But
just talked about.
that time,
Mm.
let's say in future, if I do offer bhoga every day, but that time I cannot.
Madhaji, so I will tell you that the the reality which happens in Western country, because it's the life is so difficult. My wife would still cook and we will offer boga,
Okay.
because we don't want to. There are certain principles we want to understand the heart behind these things. We don't want to just become orthodox. I'm not saying these principles are orthodox, they are needed, but based on the time, place, circumstances. So not that we dilute them thinking that, oh, what can I do, I don't have that. We try as much as possible, but in certain situations we can't, so you do that.
Okay, Prabhu.
Like for an example, when we say, okay, morning I take care of cooking and all that stuff, I did not clean my stomach properly, and then you again go, then there is a laziness to not take a bath when you get winter. Oh, I don't want to feel like. But I realize that is an important principle. And sometimes you have to do that and you take a bath quickly, no problem. So good you brought that. This is the discussion we want to contemplate and try to work towards that. If the principles are laid out, we will know. If we don't know, then ignorance is a bliss, is a problem at the certain period of time, because when we die, we say, oh, I never knew about Bhagavad Gita, I never knew the principles. Don't think the Yamadutas will give us spare. Oh, you were supposed to know it if you did not know it. Again, I'm just talking from mundane people who are on materialistic platform, but we want to come to that meticulous refinement to that platform. So it's not an opportunity for you, but it's an opportunity for me to actually read and try to follow these as much as possible.
Prabhu, in India, I have seen those elderly people, or any most of the people who does take a dip in the Gangaji or Yamunaji, and then with wet clothes on do puja. Is that okay or is not okay?
I don't see it mentioned here should not be done or it should be done, because what should not be done comes this and along with it. So it doesn't say that that's how we should be done. My understanding is that we should take a bath and change the clothes and then go to deities, not wet clothes.
Yeah, because
Because
sometimes where Gangaji is outside, right? So they
uh,
take a dip in the side of the, I see like Kashi, Vishwanath, or any other Haridwar and all
uh,
that. So they dip in the Gangaji, and then with the wet clothes on, they go to do puja and go home.
interesting, Mataji. I don't know much about that principle. I would put it that way.
So in a way, like if you take a dip in the Gangaji, that means you're sin. That's what they believe. The scene is
It's
gone.
good to take a bath, but after that, changing the clothes will be ideal, so that when you come to the temple, you don't spoil the temple serenity, because the
Right.
water is flowing and then mud is coming and all that stuff is coming, I think it would be better to change the clothes.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Wonderful. I think we went little over time, but very grateful. Sorry for being late today, but we will start next week and we will probably go till 8:30 or something. I think for 35 to 45 minutes is good enough to go through. Otherwise, beyond just goes over the head. So I don't want to over talk or any of that stuff.
Okay, no problem, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Very grateful for joining.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hare Krishna.